In 2010, the Golden State Warriors were at the bottom of the Western Conference. Winning just 26 games, you would think they would just lose out because they were out of the playoffs for some time. They were the 13th seed. They would have hopes of getting the number 1 pick. On April 14th of 2010, they were scheduled to play the Trailblazers. Going into this game, everything was set up for the Trailblazers to pick up their 51st win. The Warriors had just a 6-man rotation due to injuries. Those players including Stephen Curry, Monte Ellis, Anthony Tolliver, Reggie Williams, Chris Hunter, and Devin George coming off the bench. However, to abide by NBA rules, they had to have 8 players in uniform that night, so they would dress Anthony Morrow and Ronny Turiaf coming off the bench. The goal was for that 6-man rotation to split all the minutes during the game. All was looking well about halfway into the first quarter until Chris Hunter would go down with a knee injury. In his place came Devin George. Now at this point, there was zero place for error. They couldn't handle any unfortunate event, whether it be an injury, a foul out, or an ejection. Despite having only 5 healthy players going into halftime, the Warriors would be up 60-58 by a combined 34 points by Curry and Ellis and an 11 by Devin George. With little under 5 minutes to go in the game, the Warriors were up 108-104. However, they had a huge problem that they needed to address, because Devin George would foul out after committing a shooting foul at the top of the key. Now, if you recall, the Golden State Warriors do technically have 3 other players on the bench, but they're all injured. Chris Hunter being injured earlier in this game, and Anthony Morrow and Ronny Turiaf being injured in previous games. Therefore, Don Nelson was over there talking to the officials, saying, hey, yeah, we might have other players on the bench, but that's just to comply with NBA rules. We can't play a game due to them actually being injured. However, what felt like hours of deliberation would go by the officials just saying, okay, no, those players aren't actually disqualified, they're just injured, so you're going to either put them in or we're just not going to continue the game until you do. I know, insane. This would never happen today. Now, Don Nelson had his hands tied behind his back because he had to put an injured player in or else they were not going to continue the game. So in came Chris Hunter, who, if you recall, had been injured previously in the game. He'd play about a minute of play, long enough to get injured trying to draw a charge. Ronny Turiaf would enter the game in Chris Hunter's place. He would play about 15 seconds, long enough to shove Patty Mills and submit a claim that he was already injured during the game. However, the refs still were not having it because Anthony Morrow had not quite been in the game yet. He would play about 10 seconds, long enough to say, hey, I got injured during the game, and take himself out. Now, Devin George can come back in. It was quite a spectacle over there because there were no players on the bench sitting by this screenshot. Not to mention how angry the Portland Trailblazers fans got whenever Don Nelson wanted to not let his injured players play. He wanted to save them from getting injured even more, potentially never being able to play again. However, they had bigger things on their mind. They were being beat by a squad of 5 guys. Therefore, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. However, they would end off this game incredible. They would end off with a 14-6 run, with Steph Curry scoring 11 of those points, and somehow would come out victorious 122-116. In an incredible showing, Stephen Curry would nearly have a 42-point triple-double and would combine with Monte Ellis for 76 points. Not to mention a double-double by Anthony Tolliver. And with that, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, leaving a like and subscribing would make me very, very, very happy. And with that, I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.